So healthcare requirements for Spanish residency application. To see these, we can actually, in Figueroa, which is one of the police stations that I regularly go, a couple of years ago they put up a short notice which extracted information from the law which relates to getting residency in Spain. Okay, and this stipulates the 4 different types of healthcare that you can have in place to get residency here in Spain. All right, so as we know, to gain residency, we need to prove the 2 principal things at the moment, as it stands in this transition period, is that we need to prove you've got healthcare and you've got means to live, that you can support yourself here, okay, amongst other things. But now, talking about the healthcare, what they publish, you've got it here on my screen, is 4, as I said, 4 different scenarios in which you can prove you've got healthcare in Spain. It actually works down into 2. There's 2 scenarios, really, to be honest with you. You either got private or state healthcare. That's it. Okay. So the first 3 scenarios that they talk about relate to state healthcare. Okay, and which way can you gain access to that healthcare? So number 1 was citizens of employment. So basically, if you're employed in Spain or you have a work contract, that work contract will be registered with Social Security, and Social Security then you will have what they call an alta, which means you will gain healthcare in your region, your autonomous community. Okay, so you would need to take proof of that to your application. Be a work contract. Also, if you've got Social Security registration as well, it's handy to take that as well. Obviously, the work contract needs to be an original, and it needs to be stamped by the company and signed by you. Okay. The second one, B, citizens who are self-employed. Right, citizens who are self-employed. It's a little bit ambiguous, this one, because back in the day, we used to have a lot of problems with people who were self-employed, but because they'd only been self-employed for a short amount of time, we had to wait for that until the minimum of 3 months. Then obviously they had to take 3 months worth of their self-employment Social Security contributions with them, proof of that. Also proof using facturas that they've done, invoices to prove how much they're earning and stuff like this. I've been through all of that before, especially places like Estepona, who are quite strict on that. And that seems to lately have stopped to the point where as long as you can prove that you're registered as self-employed, that's enough to cover your healthcare. So as long as you've got all the registration documents, that's fine. I've done people who done applications of people who have been registered for just a couple of days lately. That said, I also had a couple knocked back just before the state of alarm in Malaga, where they're insisting on seeing at least 1 payment to Social Security. And depending on who you get and where you go and what region you're in, they might ask for more stuff. But being self-employed and registered as self-employed, in theory, and in my view, because the moment that you register as self-employed and you're registered with Social Security, you can get a certificate to prove that you've got access to the healthcare system from the Social Security. If you've got a digital certificate, you can download it there and you can take that certificate with you. So in my view, and when I go to an appointment, I'd always take that certificate, and that proves you've got access. There you go. That's healthcare cover. That's only the same as contracting private health cover, and day one you go there with your policy. So I feel that that's correct. So what I do though is I take a certificate from Social Security with me, not just the registration, autonomy registration documents. So there's extra proof, and at the moment that's fine. Pensioners. Well, pensioners need to get your S1 or E121 form, which is the cover form from the European style, should we say, European form cover from whatever country you're coming from. So the UK at the moment in the transition period is still issuing S1s, which are coming amazingly quickly at the moment, actually. Even during this state of alarm, which we're in, while I'm recording this video, I've had people, we've been preparing files and people have been receiving their S1 forms. The only hold up we've had has been the Spanish post, but that's still happening up till the end of the year. After that, obviously negotiations are taking place, and whether, you know, the UK won't be part of that, anymore, but whatever is put in place, if it'll be reciprocal for people coming after that, we don't know. But up till the 31st of December at the moment, you can still get an S1 form from the UK, and it will still cover you for healthcare here in Spain. And what they're saying is if you get in using the S1 form, then that will continue to be honoured. Therefore, after Brexit, we don't know. So, citizens who don't work. We're moving on to citizens who don't work, but aren't, shall we say, state pensioners, aren't retired by the state. So if you're not working and you can't get state cover from your country of origin using an S1 form, then more than likely you're going to have to get private healthcare. Okay, so private healthcare, but it's not just a case of going along getting private healthcare. There's quite strict conditions attached to that healthcare. So it has to be no excess. It has to be similar to the state healthcare you receive here, so emergency treatment, and you have to prove that obviously with the documents you take to the appointment. Most of the time the companies are good at giving you a certificate which basically condenses all the information that the police want to know onto one document, and that's it. A lot of the time they require payment, to see proof of payment and see proof of the length of the contract, which I've kind of stuck with this a couple of times, because generally when you take an insurance contract, it runs to the end of the year and is renewable after that. So if you get an insurance policy in November, for example, it will say it runs till the 31st of December and then it's annually renewable from there on. Sometimes the police look at that and they don't like it. They're like, well, it's only runs till the 31st of December. And, and you have to stipulate that part where it says, no, it is renewable. The policy is an active policy, and it's all part of the fun of the application process if you come across an objection. So that's it. That's the four main ways of proving healthcare. For beneficiaries, for people who are related, so for children and spouses, you can jump on the back of other people's healthcare if you've got the correct paperwork in place, which often requires translations of stuff to prove your connection with that main applicant. Healthcare in Spain for your residency application. Thanks for listening.